This is Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance in Sacramento today. We are joined by Bob Huff. He is the GOP leader emeritus of the California State Senate. He is a candidate for the Board of Supervisors in Los Angeles County. And I am learning so much on our program the last few months. We now have a new inebriating substance called Palcohol.
Right, yeah, somebody hyphenated the name of powdered alcohol and call it Palcohol. I thought maybe that's because you got more pals if you're slipping a little something in their drink.
Nice. What is Palcohol?
So it is a new process that in technology is a wonderful thing, but it basically is a freeze-dried alcohol, and it comes in basically one-shot doses so that it has the tendency, I mean, many things can be abused, but this is something we're really particularly concerned about our youth who already have a problem with binge drinking. And when you have something that's easily concealed, you can slip it onto a school bus, you can throw it into an already alcoholic drink, or put it in a Kool-Aid, whatever.
It looks like a powder, and you would just add it to water, presumably?
Anything that's liquid will dissolve it, because alcohol is very good about that.
How did you learn about this substance?
My staff picked it up from somewhere. As we often have ideas that come through people in the community. Staff will sniff it out, whatever. But somebody came to us on this issue, and 28 states have currently banned it. It was 27 when we first talked about it. Banned or regulated it heavily. 2 states have regulated it. The others have banned it outright.
So you're hoping to ban it completely, even for those 21 and older.
Right.
What's your thinking? Why not regulate as 2 states have done?
Well, and that's certainly a possibility, but I think because it is so easily abused, that's the problem I'm weighing in on. It's not like adults can't find alcohol, it's around, but when you get it in a powdered, more easily concealed form, it's the kids that are going to be taking advantage of this new methodology.
And it's troubling because, at least with alcohol, you have a sense. When you drink one beer, you know what that impact will be. I mean, with an unregulated substance like Palcohol, I presume there's not a proof that you can look at, a proof number to give you a sense of what the alcohol content is. And you drink too much of that, who knows what will happen?
Well, that's exactly right. And California already has the most problems from excessive drinking. I mean, we're the largest state, that stands to reason. But I think it's also, we legislators have to take a look at this. I'm not a fan of nanny government, but I think this is important enough that we should step in and just cut it off at
Is it legal right now, or is there a silence on it right now?
It's kind of a silence on it right now. So I think it's not commercially available. It's just sort of coming on stream. So we're really trying to get ahead of the curve on this and shut it down before it does take off.
And how have our sister states managed as they outlaw this? Have there been legal challenges? Is it a federal issue, or is it by definition more of a state issue?
Well, all good questions. It's both, because we're regulated by Bureau of Firearms, Tobacco, whatever, alcohol. But also the state component is, in there as well. So that's what we're trying to do, what we can as a state, just to say not in California.
And so how is your bill marching forward? Are you going it alone? Do you have some friends on the Democratic side who are looking to help you?
That's an excellent question.
Well, I thank you for that.
Yeah, no, this is a bipartisan bill, and I picked up the chair of Senate GO as a co-endorser. The Senate Pro Tem is also supporting this.
Well, that's for real.
Has come on as a co-author. Jackie Irwin, Assemblywoman, has a
Democrat
parallel bill in the Assembly. And she spoke recently when we had a hearing as a friend of the bill. As we will have to work together on this.
I want to ask you about this rash of bipartisanship breaking out in the Capitol. It is quite remarkable when you think about what's happening in Washington, D.C., and yet in Sacramento, I look at the MCO tax, the Medical Managed Care Organization tax. The Democrats and Republicans just got down to business, figured out a way to make this work, and this MCO tax passed, not unanimously, but I'm not sure where you were, but a couple Senate Republicans came out, a good number of Assembly Republicans came out. what's going on here? Why is everyone singing Kumbaya here at the state capitol?
Well, I think people have realized that the broader the support, the better impact, usually the better product that you have as well. Right. So on the MCO tax, just by way of example, originally it was a tax on 24 million ratepayers.
Right.
And it was going to raise $600 million or whatever the amount was that would be spread over everybody. And to get Republican support, they had to get the California Chamber of Commerce, the voice for business, neutral.
And they came out in favor in the end, I think.
They came out in favor of it.
Jarvis went neutral.
Correct.
Right.
NFIB went neutral. They were originally opposed as National Federation of Independent Businesses. But basically, because Republicans were at the table, we made a better bill out of it. So the tax plans got a tax credit that ended up really a $100 million total tax cut. So, you know,
for the health plans.
That gave cover for Republicans that don't want it to be back on the backs of the consumers. Right?
But do you have a sense that those tax benefits will at least inure to the benefit of consumers as opposed to just the corporate titans, if I can use that term?
Well, yes, and we also had a letter submitted to the Journal saying it was our intent not to raise on the consumers, and that's what the representations we had from, you know, from the proponents that were pushing this thing.
So do you feel as if that this mood of general bipartisanship will continue to permeate? Because, look, just from where I sit, you know, maybe I'm Pollyanna, but I do feel as if that Democrats and Republicans, with significant disagreements, will get along. You'll look at each other, you'll talk to each other. I mean, in Washington, I go, they don't even look at each other. I mean, it's pretty grim.
Well, in Washington, without trying to speak out of school, I think that there have been a lot of people elected in the last two cycles that are sort of with the reflection of this year's voting group, you know, and they're take no prisoners, right? In California, I think we're still realizing that, as I said, the broader the support, the better the bill, and there is more of a trying to work it out. You can tweak things a little bit. Maybe you don't get everything you want, but you can get a much better product by working.
But why is it in Sacramento tweaking and compromise is acceptable, but tweaking and compromise is not acceptable to our friends in Washington? And I'm not pointing fingers at either party. It just seems as if compromise is a dirty word.
I won't speak to the federal government because it's not my arena. And I can't speak, you know, with any conviction there. But I would say here it's a reflection of the leadership and just a desire to work across the lines to make it tough.
And both leadership, Democrat and Republican. And you were the leader. I mean, and you had some real bipartisan successes. I mean, I think about Amazon. Wasn't that your deal?
I was a part of the leadership team at that point. But also the water bond that we put together, that was a huge deal. Probably the biggest while I was leader. We did some prison stuff as well that, you know, there's a whole lineup, but you got to, anything I do as a Republican, by definition, is bipartisan if I'm going to be successful.
Well stated. It is a Democratic state in terms of the legislature.
So I really give the governor some credit for setting a more cautionary fiscal tone, and so that brings us into the picture a little bit more. And then also, I think the leaders that I've worked with on the Democrat side have been more in tune with that than perhaps leaders in the past. So altogether, it works.
So you're looking, though, to move on to a Board of Supervisors in Los Angeles County, where you go from 40 or 120 to 5. Right. That's a different beast.
Yeah, and where you go from a constituency of about 1 million to over 2 million.
Exactly. So talk to me about that. How's that transition going? You got it, like you said, campaign to 2 million, bigger than, God, I don't know, 10, 20 states, whatever it is. How's that going?
Yeah, so to your point about working across party lines, this is a nonpartisan office,
by
but
definition.
It will likely be 4 Democrats and 1 Republican
That's
once we
what
get there.
we hear.
So these finely honed skills up here could come in very helpful should I be elected to that. But it's going well.
But how do you speak to 2 million? I mean, it's hard enough to speak to 1 million. How do you speak to 2 million?
Well, it's very tough. Obviously, you know, the campaign budget to, you know, like what the presidential guys are using in Iowa or some of these small states. Oh, my God, you spend 10 million. You know, we haven't got those kind of resources. So, you know, you get your message out in the press, you do emails, and eventually and we get closer, we're going to be doing direct mail.
His name is Bob Huff. He is a member of the California State Senate, former GOP leader in that body, now a candidate for the Board of Supervisors in Los Angeles County. I'm Brad Pomerance in Sacramento, Local Edition.